Welcome back to the fourth and final round of this Invitational Qualifier. We have Hamza Ebrahim against Paul Gulbis. And Hamza, as we know, is on Dredge and Paul on The Rock. Um, I think it's going to be a lot closer than the last one,
Oh yeah,
to be honest with you. But,
Paul's takes a lot less linear, so he should be able to couple something together.
I mean, Kalitas, mainboard.
Yeah, it's a good place to start. Just have to make it to turn 4.
Yeah, live that long. Well, they're starting up. I do believe Hamza won the title?
And I think Paul's has Scavenging Ooze in his 75, which is gonna help a great
Yeah,
deal.
that sideboard scavenging ooze is going to be a thing. Surgical extraction as well, so not unprepared
Yeah,
for
six
dealing with
six
graveyards.
dedicated slots is very good. The 2 Maelstrom Pulses might actually come into play as well.
Yeah,
We
because it's
see-
convenient that all the creatures that come back have the same name, because they're the same copies of each other every single time.
Yeah, so we see Thoughts is actually going to be good being able to tag one of the
Cathartic,
Cathartic
Unions.
Unions.
Yeah, so pull on the play. Booming Marsh into Thoughtseize.
Yeah, this is probably the best that Thoughtseize is going to do in this matchup, taking one of the Dredge enablers.
It's definitely coming out post board, 100%.
Oh yeah, for sure. As good as it is, yeah, unless you're doing it on turn 1 on the play, it loses a lot of value. Okay, so there we see Paul going with the Cathartic Union, passing back to Hamza. If Paul has another hand-8 spell, he might be able to tag the second one too. Although Hamza, being Hamza, just top decked a Faithless Looting, which is, one of the top turn 1 plays this deck can make.
Especially when you have double prized amalgam and a guy that comes back whenever you play a land.
Fantastic.
Yeah, deciding not to toss it just to go in favor of Dredge so you can dredge this turn.
Yeah, plus if he plays a hand-8 spell here, he'll be able to Cathartic Union, get the rest of the idiots in the bin, and, well, so much for that. There's a brutality to snag the Cathartic Union.
We almost could see that happening because Paul's playing that much disruption in his deck.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, Hamza has, that knock amoeba. Best card in opening hand, you say.
Fantastic. Okay, so Hamza plays a Bloodstained Maya, and just passing back. I think he's going to want to try and get a third land somehow, and flashback that Faithless Looting.
And we are going to see a Grim Flayer. It's going to help set Paul up for the next couple of turns.
Yeah, the trample on that's hopefully going to play a role in this match.
So yeah, Hamza going to 17. He could, if he really needs a land, get back the Dakmo Salvage.
But I think the Life from the Lump's just better at this point. Okay, so he's going to cast the Life from the Loam, get back 3 lands.
Dakmo Salvage and Sackland, well, Fetch Land. I think you do lead with the Fetch here as opposed to the Salvage, don't you? Oh,
I think he wants the untapped mana.
Sure.
Plus the Fetch Land represents bringing the Bloodghast back in Paul's turn, in future turns.
Yeah, I was just taking 2, Paul getting to set up his top decks. I'll switch over so you can have a look at what he got.
Does he have a land? Oh, he has a land to play the Kalitas that he has in hand,
Yep.
which is pretty good.
So he'll look at it again. Tarmogoyf, Grim Flayer, land. I think he wants to get rid of land and
And
probably
just throw the creatures
I think you could actually get rid of one of the flayers.
for the Delirium.
Yeah.
So
The quicker
he's
he turns
got-
it on, the better it is for him.
If he gets rid of land creature, he just needs one more card to get to Delirium.
Which he has in hand, Abrupt Decay. But deciding to keep both creatures on top. And yeah, we see Kalitas.
Yeah, Hamza's gonna need to come up with an answer for this. Otherwise it's gonna wreak absolute havoc on his to his game plan.
At least it's not, say, unoffensive the foremost, where it's whenever a creature enters the
Yeah,
graveyard from anywhere.
in his zone. And there's the Conflagrate just on time.
And he has enough cards to just see that
So he'll be able
Khalita's
to
dead.
play a land. I mean, Conflagrate now, kill Kalitas, play a land, and bring his board back.
He can also kill both Kalitas and... Well, actually, no. He can't
He
kill both
can't
Kalitas
without
and
sacrificing his land
Gunfire,
drop.
yeah. And now we're going to see Fetch Land.
I don't think he sacrifices the fetch land here.
No, you can just bring back the guys again. Rather leave it up as that as opposed to an additional mana, which he doesn't quite need at this point.
Did he forget the Bloodghost trigger?
Um, he could be declining to bring them back.
This is quite strange. Okay, I think he was just shortcutting a bit there.
Yeah.
And he's probably gonna go look for basic mountain. There we go.
Yep. That double configurate. Always a good thing to have. Pass the turn back. Yeah. Paul will be able to turn on Delirium at instant speed. So playing the Goif and holding up Adapticare, which means he will just be able to block all those amalgams.
But that, you know, isn't normally enough because they'll be coming back at some point.
The thing is, though, he could always try and turn the corner here. At this point,
I don't know if he'll win that race with the Conflagrate and the...
Oh, there's life from the life from the gnomes, but there's no lands in the graveyard.
No, there are. He separated them into 2 piles, so he'd be able to get some back.
I still think he wants to hit with that Gemfly every so often, though. He's going to replace it the next turn by doing the second one.
Yeah, Paul's just deciding, mapping out his next turn in a bit.
So he played a treetop village already. There's the Tarmogoyf. Passes the turn. He shocked himself for that Overgrown Tomb.
Yeah, so that he could cast the Abducticare.
But he could have also
just used the Ghost
used
Quarter.
the Ghost Quarter.
Or maybe his plan was to get a land in the bin
at instant speed as well, sure.
Yeah. Nakamiba Bloodgast off the Dredge.
Although he has a land in the graveyard already because he bottomed or he offed one with the Gunfire and tossed one with... No, he didn't toss with Brutality. But yeah, he put one into his yard with Gunfire.
Trigger. And so we see an all-out attack from Hamza here. Looking to get in for 3, 6, 9, 12 damage.
Yeah, so we're going to see Abducticare and then block 2 more. Surprised amalgams.
Yeah, those guys won't be in the graveyard too much longer. Okay, players are just cleaning up the damage now. Paul would have taken 3 that turn from the Thug and the Bloodgast.
Thug being a 1-2.
Thug's a 1-1, yeah.
If Paul does decide to start swinging at Hamza, he is swinging for 8 total?
Is the Goif not at 5?
I think it's only a 4-5. Don't think Hamza is...
Well, now that the guys are blocked, he could use Conflagrate to clear up the creatures. Just mark 2 on the Tarmogoyf and 1 on the Flare.
He only has 2 lands in his yard though, so he can only kill one of
I
them.
see.
And actually neglecting to bring them back, but he is just bringing back more prize amalgams.
Yeah. It looks like he's going to want to flash back that Faithless Looting this turn. Most likely to fetch that mountain of his.
Yeah, at this point, I'm pretty sure it's Hamza's game, Paul not having any mainboard sweepers.
Yeah, and you'd need a removal spell to get past the Narcomoeba, which will stop a pretty big chunk on that Tarmogoyf.
Also, because Paul's not playing dead, he doesn't have access to Bolt, so no Deech either. And yeah, we are seeing the flashback of Faithless Looting.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna Dredge 5 now of Stink with him.
And we see another Conflict.
Okay. And some more lands into the bin, which is good for those.
He still needs to discard 2 cards.
Yes, he does.
Not that it matters too much at this
Oh
point.
no, it definitely matters. It's actually in his favor to discard those cards.
It's better that those cards are just dead in his yard.
Yeah, those.
Yeah, those are supposed to be discarded again. I do think Paul's just dead the next turn though. And if not the next turn, the turn
Pretty
after.
soon. Yeah, I think it's actually relevant that those cards get discarded because of the Conflagrate in his graveyard.
Yeah.
Okay, it sounds like they're busy clearing
Fixing
that up
it.
with the judge now. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which cards Hamza discard. So I think they're just going to do it randomly here.
Yeah. Not super relevant.
No,
I think Paul's probably still going to die.
it's
to
quite likely that
Conflagrate.
he'll be death this turn.
So he's definitely blocking the prize amalgams. Could possibly, yeah. Okay, so he's definitely blocking the prize amalgams. Then he's going to take 6, put him down to 7. He won't be dead immediately. But Hamza could just play fetch land, bring back another Bloodghast, then have all 4 prize amalgams. So he's probably just dead the next turn.
I think Hamza may want to hold back though. Is he not dead on the swing back?
Well,
oh no, you can use the Conflagrate to clear out all of Paul's creatures, I think. Which I think this is the turn to do that.
we forgot about the.
Oh, that's even
Treetop
better
Village.
because then you get to take out the Treetop Village as well and just leave him with Tarmogoyf.
Well, yeah, Paul will take 4, go to 9, lose his entire board. Hamza's board will just come back the next turn.
Yeah, exactly. Just Paul's deciding how he wants to block. It seems only logical that he takes out those amalgams.
Yeah, it's like block the amalgams and then block the
Bloodghast if he decides to wake up the village.
He can't drop too low either because he could just die to Conflagrate.
Conflagrate, yeah. He doesn't have much of a choice here but to block. You can decide not to use the treetop and still be out of Conflagrate range.
At the same time though, his board will be severely lacking to actually kill Hamza.
Look, this is definitely diminishing returns here. He just has to draw the game out long enough to try and draw something relevant. Although like possibly Kalitas could get him there, but with the conflagrates in the bin, I don't think even that will get him there.
Yeah, the combo between conflagrate and just reusing all the lands you keep tossing to it.
Yeah, it's a hell of an engine. That doesn't work. That just leaves you dead to conflagrate.
Alternatively, you could block the thug with Treetop Village, block both Bloodghasts with both players, and then block a Prized Amalgam with Tomgoif.
So then he takes 7, goes to 6.
Yes. And then Hamza only has 4 cards in hand, so conflict doesn't kill him immediately. Hamza has to kill creatures or dies on the swing back.
Yeah, but I think Hamza is okay with doing that, considering
Yeah.
that he can conflagrate for the same amount almost every turn.
So yes, we are seeing a similar block. Well, okay,
No, this is the initial block that we thought we'd see.
Hoping Hamza makes a mistake. Discarding 4 cards automatically just kills off Tarmogoyf and both players.
Yeah, so it looks like Hamza's just figuring out how many he needs to discard yet to clean up the board.
He will like discard 4 kills both players and the Goyf, then Paul's only left with Treetop Village, which isn't going to win the game on its own.
Sure.
But he does want to play a land to
well,
get
yes, life
back.
on the loam to do that next turn.
And they all have haste because Paul's under 10, so yeah.
I mean, he can discard everything but the land. Okay, he's just deciding to go for everything.
Well, actually, because the Bloodghast didn't die, there's nothing to come back from Hamza's yard anyway.
Sure.
But he's just gonna deal Paul 4 the next turn.
With conflagrate, yeah.
Well, 3 because there's 5 power on board. Yeah. So Hamza wins.
Sounds about that. And we'll see if Paul has anything to say after sideboard. I know he's going to be reaching for those oozes and extractions pretty quickly.
Scavenging Ooze and Surgical Extraction, auto in. What do we take out though? Probably Thoughtseize, definitely Inquisition.
Yeah, and I could see trimming on the Planeswalkers as well.
The thing is, he doesn't have that much to bring in, whereas he has a lot to take
Yeah,
out.
so the 4 Thoughtseizes leaves him with needing 2 more spots for Scavenging Ooze and Surgical Extraction. So you just need to trim 2 more cards, and I could see it being the Hand-Aid spells.
Yeah, it's just kill 2 Inquisitions, stick with 2 of them.
And
maybe cut the third brutality for a Maelstrom Pulse.
Sure.
Possibly 1 Damnation, but that's fighting a losing battle.
I think you can actually just drop all the Hand-Aid and bring in the Damnations, because the rest will keep you alive long enough to potentially cast a Damnation, and then with the Lily of the Last Hope, you'd be able to buy stuff back. I mean, you'd be fueling a Tasigur by blowing up your own creatures as well. And if you have a Kalitas down when you cast a Damnation,
you're just going to get zombies for each creature that gets exiled.
Exactly. Well, from your opponent's side, of course.
Well, it only exiles opponent's creatures.
Yes. We might see Golgari Charm come in.
Possibly. Degening all his creatures is somewhat relevant sometimes.
Yeah, so it allows for a lot more blocks. It also lets you clean up a host of Bloodghasts and Narcomoebas and all of that. So you could use it as a mini sweeper in conjunction with a Kalitas, which is actually pretty good.
On Hamza's side, I think it's definitely Lightning Axe you want to bring in.
Yeah, you got to clear Kalitas.
And then probably also Bajuka Bog his opponent's Delirium deck and Abrupt Decay. Can't think of anything more than that, but at the same time that's also requiring 5 cuts, which isn't the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, it's very difficult to sideboard with the Dredge deck, because you need to make sure you have enough critical mass in your deck to do what you want to do, and then still find spots for those sideboard cards.
I think an easy couple of cuts, or maybe one of the Knockamoebas, 2 life from the loam, and then a conflict gate. That's 4 spots.
Yeah, I think you can trim on the. I think life from the loam is where most of the trimming starts,
Yeah.
seeing as it's such a high number now. But it's really tough to say.
So maybe go down to 1 life from the loam, cutting 3
It's
of
still
them.
really important. So if you
Yeah,
find in a situation where you're not getting to that third land, you're not able to flash back um, your conflagrates for value, and
can't faithless looting
your
flashback.
faithless lootings, you lose a lot of value by not being able to get your third land. So you still want at least 2 life from the loam, I think.
So yeah, so 2 life from the loam cuts, 1 conflict gate, and 1 Knockamoeba.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Then bring in 2 lightning axe to abrupt decay. Could probably ignore the Bajuka bog because his opponent's not a dedicated Delirium deck,
Yeah, it's just the Grim Flayers that want Delirium.
and like Lily, somewhat recurring creatures. Tasiga to an extent, but he hasn't seen Tasiga, so
Yeah.
Hamza shouldn't even be aware of it at this point. Yeah, players look like they're about ready to start. Paul to go first. We'll see if it's Hamza who secures his qualification spot or Paul fights back to make the game 1-1. If I'm on Paul's side, I kind of want to see opening hand, maybe. Problem is, like, you don't have any deal turn 1 players if you're cutting your Inquisitions and Thought Seizers, but you don't
Yeah.
really want those anyway. As far as opening hand goes, though,
That
that's
looks
pretty
like a good
good.
one. He's got the Ooze, he's got the Extraction, he's got Kalitas. I mean, if this isn't the hand that wins, what can?
And he has 3 lands as well.
Now this looks like it's a good hand to keep.
Let the viewers have a look at the hand.
He's got Treetop Village.
Treetop
Is that
Village.
double Treetop Village?
It's double Treetop Village, but he has double Scavenging Ooze and Overgrown Tomb, so he can
I
lead.
think this is definitely a keep.
Hamza to mull into lands, conflagrate, insolent neonate. No, cathartic reunion.
I think he's forced to keep at this stage. The deck
Yeah.
does not mulligan well at all.
And we do see Treetop Village tapped. Insolent neonate? Okay, conflagrate for 1. All 0.
0. Okay, and Paul just drew second black source for that Kalitas. I think it's in his interest.
To play the Scavenging Ooze this turn.
I think he may need to surgically extraction the conflict because the Scavenging Ooze will just get blown up.
The thing is, he has the second Scavenging Ooze. And then he may hit one of.
I think it's. Okay, so you can do it that way. I just think the card's so valuable that you want to protect it.
The thing is, because he has the second Screws.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, top take that abrupt.
Well, this means that now the next Scavenging Ooze can come down and eat the conflict.
Well, depends what black source he drew. It was a.
He's got 2 Overgrown Tombs and 2
sure.
Ape Lands, whatever they're called. I forget the name.
Treetops.
He's just
And he
drew
drew the second.
I think you have to, just so that you know what you're working with. Get rid of that conflagrate.
Shocking himself. Going to 18. Scavenging
There we
Ooze
go.
eats the
Okay,
conflict.
so he's going for that line. Hamza's going to have to have a pretty decent hand to be able to get dredging anytime soon.
Even if he does, Paul can just surgical extract both relentless. I mean, both prized amalgam and
Bloodgast.
Bloodgast. Yes,
Yeah.
that one.
So you say you just let him go wild here.
Yeah, do what you need to do. In response to any triggers, exile the cards.
Sounds good.
So yeah, first draw. We do see the Bloodgast there.
But Hamza has no more dredges. Wow, this is not a good game for Hamza.
I do think Paul's probably going to take this
Yeah.
second game pretty easily.
I mean, he's thrown 2 of his 3 Scavenging Oozes, both of his surgical extractions.
No, he
and
has
the
3
Kalitas.
extractions, so he's drawn 2 out of 3 of each of them.
Oh, wow.
He's came fully prepared for Graveyard Aid.
Yeah, but I mean, throwing this many copies is still pretty good.
Yeah, 4 sideboard cards basically.
Yeah, hold on there, Hamza. We've got some business to attend to first. Ooh, and he catches one out of his hand. And now Paul will be able to see anything that Hamza sighted in.
And we do see the Lava Axe.
The Lightning Axe, yes.
Lightning Axe, yes, that one.
Lava Axe is a lot worse.
Yes, 5 mana, deal 5 to target player.
So it looks like it's just axes and decays that came in.
Paul helping Hamza out, giving him the basic mountain he was fetching.
So they did catch all of those Bloodghasts, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hamza casting Faithless Looting. Hopefully does not discard Prized Amalgam.
Yeah, he might think that because Paul's already used one.
He's not going to see a second one, surely. And draws Nakomibo, of course.
Best card in his deck. Surely he just discards both Dredges here.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to keep both in hand.
Oh well, you don't really want to discard the creature because of the Scavenging Ooze.
He discarded.
Or doesn't matter what
anyway,
you discard,
yeah,
really.
it's just gonna get eaten. Because Paul's not playing Kalitas this turn. He only has 3 mana.
This is still a fine turn. Eat 2 creatures. Well, I'll probably eat that Faithless Looting now as well before Hamza gets priority.
Wait, how did it get counter?
He ate the Bloodgast.
Oh, sure. Not the Bloodgast, the
Golgari Thug, sorry.
Thug, yes. Takes 3, gains 1. Plays 3 top village, passes.
I'm surprised that he's going to leave that Faithless Looting in the yard for Hamza there.
I think he doesn't care about it too much because he can just surgically extract anything that's a threat to him at this point.
Yeah, but the Faithless Looting could help Hamza draw into an answer for the Scavenging Ooze.
True.
Especially since you have perfect information, well, near perfect information on his hand.
Discards land. Land, sure, and fetches. I think Hamza actually got a Lightning Axe there.
Does he have a fetchable land though? Doesn't look like it.
That's awkward.
He's not going to be happy about that.
Ah, he forgot to shuffle lands into his deck. Possibly? I don't know actually. He failed to find. Remember guys, count your lands and count your... Be sure how many lands you produce.
Yeah.
Well, land
Especially
producing
in
lands you have in your deck.
Especially in these styles of decks.
That's kinda awkward on many levels. Because he has the Lightning Axe for the Scavenging Ooze, he just can't cast it.
Get to work on those lands, man. You already saw him fail to find. Okay, so there's a creature. That's better than a land, yeah.
And now that Scavenging Ooze is just out of Lightning Axe range, surely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's a 5
okay,
now.
it's still a 5-power creature. And there's a Kalitas.
Well, pick your poison. How would you like to lose? By choice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're
The
going to be on to
concession.
game 3 now. Hamza's probably going to beat himself up a little bit about that.
So
Land
yeah, as we
situation.
can look at lands that he can... Okay, if it refreshes itself. Red sources he could have fetched were limited to Stomping Ground, Mountain, Blood Crypt. And he already had 1 Stomping Ground, I believe, on the field.
Yeah.
As well as a mountain. The others got mulled,
So there are only, what, 5 fetchable lands in his deck?
basically. I don't see a basic forest, so yeah, only
No.
5. Yeah, that was really awkward because he had the answer to the scavenging ooze, he just
Yeah.
didn't have a land.
Well, I mean, I suppose it just put him out of his misery because he didn't. I mean, who would want to play through Paul's hand in that game?
Yeah, and if he had ever seen that second surgical extraction, probably would not have been the happiest of people.
No. Well, he was telling me outside that he's been surgical extraction every round, and we still see him here 3-0 sitting in the finals. So I don't think it's too much skin off his nose at this
Yeah,
stage.
he actually told me his match against Brian Horseman playing Dean Blacktron. Brian extracted both prized amalgams and bloodghasts, and he still won.
Was conflagrate and Nakameba beats.
Yeah, attack
Fantastic.
for 1 every single time.
How does Tron lose to that?
Well, Brian didn't have Tron at that point.
Sure.
He was stuck on 3 lands, missing the third piece.
Okay, so now we're just having to endure a couple of minutes of the shuffle cam before we get started on game 3.
And at this point, I think it's anyone's game. Paul has a lot of hate for Hamza's deck
I think
compared to the other decks in the room.
at this stage it all depends on what Paul does. If he can get surgical extraction and scavenging ooze, he's in good shape.
At the same time, if Hamza gets the nuts, he gets the nuts. He's on the play this game.
Yeah, so we didn't see any damnations out of Paul. It's clear that his deck can survive till it becomes relevant. Oh, there we go, damnation in hand.
Yep.
Can he cast it? Looks like he's close. Does he have anything else to go with it?
There's a
and
scavenging ooze.
Okay, life's good when life's good. Okay. Okay, Hamza. Are we going to see the classic turn to you're dead out of Dredge?
Well, he's mulling to 6.
Oh.
So that's already not a good sign.
I mean, the fact that his opponent's keeping 7 cards against Dredge, you should already know that there's some hatred in that hand.
Not the most graveyard friendly of sideboards on Paul's side.
Yeah, I think he was wise to select the sideboard that he did. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Hamza can throw the sand back.
And I think he's bottoming that land.
I'm likely to agree with you.
I think because he's fetching, he's not going to do anything. What? Okay.
Oh, he really wants that land, huh? I guess he just wants to max out on the damage that he's going to do. So he's going to be discarding some number of lands, and he wants to make sure that he has some to fetch. But if that's... Oh, I think... Or maybe it's just that he got burnt by his mana issues in the last game.
He needs to make sure he has enough lands for it.
Yeah. Looks like Hamza's slow rolling a bit here. He wants maybe Paul to make the first move before he does anything.
Problem is though, Hamza's hand isn't exactly doing anything at this point.
Well, it's throwing cards against the opponent doing nothing, which is not the worst.
He could just be saving that configurate until he sees a scavenging ooze.
Well, the scavenging is going to come down and eat it, I'm sure. It would be silly to see anything but that.
Well, another thing he could try and do is try and overload his yard so the scavenging ooze can't keep up.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he doesn't exactly have a hand that does that.
Yeah, I think he's waiting maybe to draw a cathartic reunion. But once the scavenging ooze hits, it's really going to stymie that kind of plan.
I think his best hope here is Paul plays the scavenging ooze, eats the conflagrate, he top takes cathartic reunion and tosses both dredges. I think it was 2 dredges, and then basically dredges into another dredger.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like a fine play.
Paul actually just going with a Goyf here.
I think this Goyf's just a sacrificial lamb. It's gonna get smushed by this conflagrate.
I don't think Hamza's too interested in killing it though. It's only a 2-3 at this point.
Hands on tap, goes for his turn. And what have we got? Oh my goodness. That is a doozy. Okay, so now how do we do this? Do we go for the lightning axe?
I don't think you want to go for the lightning axe on a 2-3 Tarmogoyf.
I think Hamza's going to ask about the sizing of the Gorp once he flashes back the Conflagrate. It does work the way he thinks it does.
Yes, because there will be no sorcery in the graveyard. It will be dealt 2 damage and then die.
Yeah, so the state-based actions will check. The sorcery will be gone. Gorp will have shrunk, and you only need to mark it with just enough damage, excluding counting the sorcery, buffing the creature.
It also works the other way. If you have to lightning bolt a Tarmogoyf and there are 2 creature types in the graveyard, it becomes a 3-4 if there is no instant.
Exactly. Remember, kids, damage doesn't kill creatures. State-based actions kill creatures.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, okay, I can't make a drink and drive joke there. It's just not working for me.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that he does the right step. We must just hope that Paul can't put an extra card tap in the graveyard.
Well, it looks like he has to deal 3 because he's discarding creature.
Sure, that makes sense. If he was only discarding lands, he'd be able to get away with shaving
Hamza
on the
really
amount of
doesn't
damage.
want to play this Dakmo Salvage because he needs to be aware that Scavenging Ooze is a card.
Yes, it is a card.
And we're going to see the Scavenging
It's
Ooze.
now a card on the battlefield, somewhere that Hamza's going to have to remove it from.
So, Paul deciding to eat
The Dredger.
Dredge, sure. I think Paul had to actually eat 1 card before he decided to sack, and then only sack at instant speed.
I think he should just have sacked before he played anything and had both
No,
manas
sure.
available.
Before playing the Squeeze.
Exactly. I mean, if Hamza's able to rebuild, yeah, he might be able to take this game.
And he does have a Dredger in the yard with the Dakmo Salvage, and that also ensures his land drop.
It looks like he just chose to draw.
And he drew Faithless Looting.
That's pretty darn good.
Surprised
He didn't
didn't
the Dakmo
dredge
salvage.
with the Dakmo.
He would have been
possibly
able
wants
to discard it again to the Faithless Looting. Okay, so
possibly
Paul's got-
forgot it has Dredge.
I don't know about all that. Okay, so we see Paul getting in now with the Manland, which, I don't know, should be a telltale sign to Hamza that he's got some kind of board wipe, especially considering the amount of cards in his hand.
So yeah, he's still not dredging. Okay, Paul is on 18. We have clarification of that from. So, at this point, I'm just being very cautious, or possibly just forgetting about the Dakmo salvage entirely.
Yeah.
And Paul's not drawing too well. Looks like he's flooding pretty heavily.
Well, he can chip away quite nicely with those manlands. He doesn't really need to interact at instant speed. And if Hamza gets out of control, he can just Damnation and attack. So Hamza's done a pretty decent job of putting something together here. I mean, 5 damage is a decent enough clock. It might force Paul to put something on the board, forcing Hamza to overextend so he can clean up with the damnation. But he really wants to get Kalitas or Surgical Extraction done before he does that.
He has a Tasiga in hand.
Is Tasiga one of the kind of threats that you'd sacrifice to your damnation in a couple of turns?
Probably not, but at the same time, Tasiga ensures you don't need to damnation the next couple.
Sure, he'd do a good job of buying some time while buying some cards back from the game, but he might even score that Scavenging Ooze back.
Unfortunately, I don't think Hamza's he's just gonna be dredging the life from the loam every single turn,
Yeah.
effectively.
Well, he's got a Stinkweed Imp now.
Oh sure. Missed that one. And yeah, we'll see the dredge. So yeah, another dredger and a bloodghost.
Yeah, the thing about Stinkweed Imp is that it does fly. And if Hamza feels like he has time on his side, he could just go for one.
I think he's gonna cast it. There's nothing else he's doing this turn.
Okay.
Also has death touch.
Well, if it deals combat damage, oh my goodness. That is absolutely insane. So what just happened is Paul activated Tassiger's ability, flipping the top two cards into his graveyard, and then Hamza has to choose to give a non-land card back to
And
Paul.
you can see on
He's
this
got
screen because of the delay.
Kalitas, Scavenging Ooze, which are amazing on this current board.
Upside is we get to tell Hamza he needs to work on his luck.
I'm excited for this.
Yes. Downside is all three of those cards are extremely good against Dredge.
So we might actually see that scenario that was mentioned earlier, where there'll be a Kalitas down and there's a Damnation, which is absolutely gross.
And I think Hamza has to give Paul Kalitas. Giving him Scavenging was just like basically designing yourself to,
Yeah.
I'm never going to get anything into my yard.
At least with Kalitas,
Okay, we are seeing Scavenging was being returned.
okay. So I would have given the Kalitas there simply because. Actually, nah, both of them are just terrible. I can't even think of something to get it on the
The only
Kalitas.
reason is Kalitas is just,
it takes
costs
up
4
more.
mana.
It takes more of his turn. Yes.
and also like the Scavenging Ooze is exciting things immediately.
Yeah.
Kalitas requires him to have something.
And there go your enablers.
And I believe it's two creatures, yes. So Paul going back up to 20.
Yeah. And a Grim Flail. Wow. Okay, so Paul still doesn't have the greatest attacks yet. I mean, whatever creature he sends in is going to have to trade with the Stinkweed Imp. Or not if you just throw an Abrupt Decay. That wasn't Abrupt Decay that he drew, right?
I think it was. We are going to probably see it now, yes. And the
There we go, and that's...
Imp's getting not exiled because no Kalitas. But
no, but it will get exiled by the Scavenging
Yes.
Ooze in short order, I'm sure.
I'm just also going to have to start blocking because his life total's at a lowly 15.
He only has one blocker because of the text on Bloodghost.
Yeah, can't block.
I think it may have been correct to just wake up the manland and get in with that as well.
He probably wants to activate Tassiger again.
I mean, how much more do you need to win by?
I mean, when you're winning, you should try to win as well as possible.
Is he going for the perfect? No cards in hand, no creatures on board, no cards in graveyard?
Could be. Although, maybe no dredgeable cards.
I mean, you could draw this out if you really wanted to.
Yeah, we are seeing
Activating Kalitas.
Maelstrom Pulse, Land, Abrupt Decay, double Kalitas. He's gonna get the Pulse back.
Okay, Hamza's that enough. And I do not blame him.
Yep. And, well, there we did see that the Doc, as opposed to the John Death Shadow deck, had enough ways to deal with graveyard synergies. And, yeah, he's can't beat Samjingu's plus Kalitas with
Yeah.
Tasiga activation. Also helped a bit that Hamza didn't see Tasiga game 1, so didn't side in Bajuka Bog.
Yeah, man, the luck's just looking as sturdy as ever after Paul's performance today.
Could say Hamza was quite keen with Envy there.
Yeah, look, if
Didn't
you're going to
exactly.
choose to build your house, you want to do it on a luck.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that there, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next event.